MM3 Love's Crush. Now, this was a bit more of a mellow tune, so this was kind of, I guess, part two, what you're talking about, Catherine, how it's kind of split up into three parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Really enjoyed the tune, Mike. I mean, I like the vocals, and I loved just how it flowed in general, because, I mean, I know it was like a little bit more mellow, but it went really nice, and it was still kind of, had enough kind of drive to it that, it just wasn't one of those songs where it's mellow, but a little bit too mellow.
Yeah, it's kind of ballady, but still moved around, moved along enough, and I think it just had a nice feel to it. I actually wound up adding an Evo on a guitar to it. That's kind of like almost a keyboard cotton sounding type thing. You can kind of hear subtly in the background. I think that added like so much to the tune.
Nice. Catherine Nolan?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, Mike. When the second verse came along, you had that really lovely counter melody going on in the right ear, and I couldn't tell if it was an Evo or controlled feedback. That was really tasteful. Well done.
Yeah, I just not recently, but yeah, around the time that I did this song, I got an Evo and have been playing with it ever since. I love it. It's my favorite new toy. It shows up a few more times on the album, but yeah, those things are great.
Those things are just crazy fun to play around with.
Oh yeah, they are. I mean, once you get started with it, you're gone. You're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. What? Yeah. What? Who needs a pick?
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. So we are going to get up to the next song on this album, and since we're going to track 6, since we played track 5 already, which is Standing by the Window, so this is Over the Storm, MM3. Dig this. MM3 Over the Storm. Now, this was a cool tune, and mainly because it almost followed the grunge basics sort of thing, like kind of verse, chorus, verse, but like it just had the cool kind of melody to it, and then it got a little heavier and kind of followed that balance throughout the song, and like really got into it, and it really, really reminded me of like early '90s grunge. Catherine Nolan?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, what I was thinking about when I was listening to this, other than it's a really good tune, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your recording process. It sounded really good.
Yeah, recording process. Well, first, this particular song, it always seems like it's always evolving, because this originally started off. I was trying to write like a country type song, something that had a country feel for it, for a band that I was playing in a couple years back. We were doing covers, and they like playing country, but I wanted to do originals, so
Right.
I started writing my own music. So I consciously sat down and tried to write something with kind of a country feel to it, and that's where this song started coming from. But then when that went nowhere, I was like, well, go back to making it, like a rock song, which I did. And now playing it live with the guys, now we're taking it even further. The solo at the end, I'm starting to develop almost like a U2 Edge type solo to the end of it, and extending it even longer. And it's it just always seems to keep evolving.
Very good.
Right on. Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that. How was it different consciously trying to write something a specific way to as opposed to doing it kind of freelance?
It didn't really feel, natural and comfortable. I just kind of like to wing it, and not sit down, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to structure something and do this.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad we wound up just going back to like a rock song on it. And it was also Dave and Al. It was their idea for the vocal harmonies, which is something we hadn't been doing, So
Right.
that's also something new to do. So that was cool too.
Yeah, and that worked really well.
Now,
Yeah, thank you.
now is that something that you'll be doing more of, like more harmonies? Because
Yes, we will, because we recently added a vocalist. So for when we play, for playing live, it's going to make it a whole lot easier. We discovered with me playing guitar, and singing at the same time, and playing live, I always, I try to add a little bit more flavor to the songs, with effects and so forth.
Right.
So it was really turning into like a circus act, trying to hit, stomp boxes and sing at the same time. And the only thing missing was, the spider monkey on my shoulder, and I could have been an organ grinder. So somebody, Dave knew. We brought him by for an audition. He worked out great. He's a great guy. Guy's name is John Williams. Unfortunately, the album was already recorded, so we couldn't get him on there. But
Right.
we do have some live stuff on our website that features him. And it's just great having an extra voice. He's already come up with some song ideas. So it's
Well, right on.
gonna be
So
good.
kind of like how Pat Smear was brought in for a little bit of guitar relief for Kurt Cobain in the last year, right?
Yeah.
Right on. No, I
Yeah, I mean, it's great in the studio because you can do anything you want. Just add another track and there you go. And then, but it comes to the point you want to play it live. It's like, oh,
yeah. I don't think I can do this.
yeah. Yep.
Right on. So we're on to the next track, and the next track is called Fish Guts. Dig this. MM3 Fish Guts. Now, I really enjoyed this tune because it was raw and pretty heavy. And the line that stuck out to me the most,